everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we are looking at an anime that I was recommended by 3 Comma, who's on Twitter, and I was surprised that I have never heard of it. It came out, I believe, early this year in 2022, but I was blown away by this anime. It's a Chinese anime. It's 11 episodes long, so you might be thinking, oh, that's it. But 11 episodes actually was just the right amount of episodes for this. This didn't need any more episodes right now. I mean, I wish it had more, and it's good to have a season 2 that was already confirmed at the end of the first season. But who knows when that's going to come out? It's possibly going to be a while. If any of you guys know, especially want to follow a lot of the Chinese anime, let me know in the comments below when it's supposed to come out. Because I'm going to say this right now. I actually think this is one of the most hidden gems of 22 so far. Like, I've heard about a whole bunch of anime coming out this year. Link Click, I don't think even any of my friends mentioned. I don't think there was a single person I know that went, Aaron, go check out Link Click, except for the person I told you guys about earlier. I was blown away by the series. This series was phenomenal. I actually think it was one of my like top 20 anime, to be honest with you. Like, it was just that good. So in case you guys don't know what Link Click is, I'll give you a quick rundown. By the way, I am gonna use just real fast the like my notes for the names, because the names are Chinese and I'm terrible pronunciation in Chinese. But Link Click follows two young men. One is Shang Xiu, and the other one is Lu Guang. And both these characters have very unique abilities. Now, for the most part, Chang can go into photos. Like, so any photo he sees, he can go into it and occupy the time period of 12 hours within that photo. And Lu is able to see everything that happens and kind of understand what's gonna happen and what happened before from those 12 hours. So ironically, their powers actually complement each other pretty well. So like one goes into the photo and another person, is able to kind of guide them and go, okay, this is what they're gonna say next, this is what's gonna happen next, this is what you need to avoid. Because here's the thing, is that they find out very early on, and we find out as the viewers, if anything happens in the time frame of them going into the past, they can alter the whole timeline. So if like they prevent something from happening, or they don't follow something very specific and end up destroying a major event, which is, as they tell you later in the series, can happen, it could change everything. Everything in the future can change, and one of the biggest things for them is not to do that. They go back into the photos for smaller reasons. Like one of the episodes focuses on one of them going back to find a secret recipe for a ramen shop that she just had a falling out with her partner, and she wants to figure out what's the secret recipe they've been using, because she has no idea what it is. And they go back and try to kind of see from the perspective of both of them to find this thing. But it sounds kind of it sounds kind of goofy when you talk about certain individual episodes, because individual episodes range from like really deep and complex stories. Like I want to say the third to fifth episode, I believe it is, where it focuses on a young man that has to do with like retracing steps of last year of high school, and having to kind of talk with all these people, and he just wants to have kind of closure in his life because he felt like he never got that. It's interesting because you know there's a big event that happens in those things. And I'm not going to spoil it, because this is a show that I could really easily spoil a lot of stuff for it. Like, there's every single episode has a big amount of spoilers, so I can't really dive too much into each individual episode and kind of break them down, bit by bit. I can only really talk about just the synopsis of each episode, because literally, if I spoil anything of the episode, it makes the whole like impact of it kind of shallow. And it's crazy because this is a show that lives and dies, I think, by the impact of you going into it kind of blind. Like, I tell you guys the synopsis of it, I'm telling you guys, the characters and their powers. That's really not a big spoiler, because that's the main thing that you'll see when you first start it, the first like 5 minutes of it. But I don't want to say anything more because, you know, as I could say, like if I talk about episode 3 and 5, the biggest thing with those episodes is that how he talks with them and why he talks with them, and the whole point of it. Like, when you think of how does that really change anything, for the future, it really does. There's a big instance of an event that happens and occurs, and it's just mind blowing when it happens. But Link Click overall, though, it's the series that it lives and dies and breathes by its great narration, its great characters, the whole world, the concept of it, the power they have, the finale that's a cliffhanger finale, which I usually, let me tell you something, guys. I hate cliffhangers. I think cliffhangers are one of the most clickbaity way. I'm not. There's another better probably way of saying it, but it's like the most clickbaity way of making people want to go and watch another part. Which, I mean, it makes sense in the long term of media. Like media, you need that kind of feel that brings you and drives you to make you watch another season of something. But I hate it when it did this because it honestly it leaves you in such a like, oh my god, I need more of it, and I don't know when I'm gonna get the second season, and that's gonna possibly take X amount of months or even freaking years. It's that's the scary part of it. I mean, with anime nowadays, especially, I think it's not gonna take super long, but it's still gonna be some time, and that's kind of what scares me about because I really want season two so bad. But like I said, the characters, the way they're written, the stories that are told within when each episode, they're incredible. One of the episodes focuses on a young man who was kidnapped, and the father and mother are just devastated. Like the mother has regressed to almost being a child herself because she's just so destroyed by what happened, obviously. And the father's kind of mission is to try to find his son no matter what. And he's been doing it for years. Going to like person to person, asking, "Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened?" And when these two get involved in it, they're trying to figure out how and where he got kidnapped and what happened, and how they solve it and how they do it is actually very interesting because it changes the future, but not in a way that's drastic. Like there's something that this is a little bit of spoiler. It's not a big deal. One of the concepts that I think it's Lu Tol's Chang is that you can change the future slightly by changing how you speak or how you say something, but it's more important on the main change. Like that can't change. Like the big element, the big event that happens every time they go into a world, that can't change. So for example, like in the ramen shop episode, if they were to cause a fight between the two and the two were never to make a ramen shop together, that would be obviously a big change. But small things like, oh, her not taking a picture here or her not acting like this, it's different because it's not a big event. So that's one of the main premises of a lot of stuff later on that you see, that why you're wondering like why Chang's running around in this world and not changing anything by him just existing, or because he takes over the body of the person he goes into in a few episodes, because it's whoever takes the photo, he ends up going into that person's body. But if he doesn't have a photo, you wonder how does he go in? Like he does a picture, who took the picture? If like the surveillance camera, what? How does he go into that? And they talk about that and they explain all this stuff. They do a really good job of kind of making sure that you don't feel as a viewer like, oh, okay, that doesn't make sense, or there's a obviously discrepancy between this and that or his powers. But they do a really phenomenal job of making sure that everything kind of works. It's not overly complicated, nor is it overly simplified. Like it's a power that you have a lot of questions you want to know, like, oh, how does that work? How does this work? How does that cause this and that? But they do a good job of making sure it's like, okay, this actually does make sense, and I really love that about the show. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I'm gonna tell you guys and girls, watch then click. It is 11 phenomenal episodes. And I will pray you to tell you to do this. Like this is one of the biggest things I can tell you. There's an extra zero point 0.5 episode that comes out. It's 5.5, I believe. It was like almost like an OVA within the series. Like it was, you think, because a lot of times when you watch regular anime, you think, oh, an extra episode is a recap or some other BS that has nothing to do with anything. Do not do that. I almost did that myself, and I almost regretted it. Episode 5.5 actually is a big whole entire story by itself that still takes place in the universe, and it's like kind of in between episodes, but it's very important to watch because they actually do reference it at the very end of the series. So if you miss it, or you decide it's like just a filler episode or it's just some BS episode, you miss it, a very important episode, which actually is very heartwarming. The whole story of that, brought me almost to tears. I'll be honest with you, I actually cried during one of the episodes because it was just so thought provoking and sad that I actually just I bawled my eyes out. I won't even lie. Like I cried like a little boy. It was nice. It was like so refreshing to see an anime make me feel the way it did, and did such a good job of that. It's why I'm gonna say this right now, guys. Don't sleep on Chinese anime. I think a lot of people, especially people that only watch subbed anime because they can't, they don't want to watch dub because they like refuse to watch English voice or hear English voice actors doing the roles of Japanese or Chinese in this case. You know, it's one of the hardest things about watching Chinese anime is that a lot of times the sub is very hard because if you don't read fast, it's just like on the screen real fast. Recently, like with certain series, it's been a little bit better, but with like this link click, I noticed it was very fast. It's like whoosh, 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 like you have to really pay attention and zone in on what's being said. But even still, do not sleep on this show. It is 11 mystical episodes of just greatness. I think it's technically you want to call it 12 episodes because the 5.5, sure, you can call it 12 episodes, but it's so good. It was phenomenal. Like if I had to do it, obviously because we're getting to that point, if I had to do it between A through F, A plus. I have no issues with it. I really, animation is incredible on it. The visuals are amazing. Like I mean, some of the art is so cool. Opening's great, ending's great. The story's phenomenal. The characters are great. And I want to talk about it so much more in depth, but I'm afraid to do any spoilers because it's such a series that's so easy to spoil. Like if I talk about this or that from each episode, and I could spend an hour talking about certain things from this episode, like it would spoil the whole thing. Like impact of it. When you watch this episode, you see certain things happen. You're like, oh, I did not see that happening. I wasn't even expecting that. You have to go into it like that. That's why if you really need to be convinced more, and our review obviously doesn't do that for you for whatever reason, but you know me, I get it. Listen, reviewers sometimes you listen to it with a grain of salt, which I completely understand as a reviewer myself. But if you do that, just at least read the synopsis and try episode one. Episode one, I think alone, this is not a 3 episode series test. I think episode one will hook you because it's just how the series is going to go from there. And if you, I'm sorry for the sirens, by the way, it's New York, but it's so amazing that even from the first episode, I knew I was going to love the series. And I was only the only thing I think I feared for the whole series duration was, is any episode going to be weak? I don't think there's a single episode that's weak. I don't think there's any moment I was like, oh, that wasn't that great, or oh, it could have been better. Every episode's good. Every single story is good. The characters, the way the way I'll spoil this for a little bit. Um, Chang's kind of thing. He wants to be able to save people. There's a reason for that. I'm not gonna spoil that part, but there's a reason he wants to save people, and he's so willing to use his power to dive back into these photos for random people. And how he realizes he can't do a lot, unfortunately. Like as much as he wants to save the world and change everything and fix everything, every time he dives, he runs the risk of changing the world too much. And later on, he does see one of his changes cause a big event in the series, and it causes him to almost like lose it. Like he becomes really depressed, and understandably why you'll get when you see it. It's like you feel bad for him. And Lou seems like a very a stoic person, but there's a lot of depth to his character too because he's not someone who's trying to be overly stoic on purpose. He's stoic because he knows what can happen to a certain degree, and he also sees everything that does happen and realizes that their power is very dangerous. Like they have a great power that could be used to help people slightly, but at the cost of you have to make sure you follow kind of guidelines to it. That's why he's really annoying about it in the beginning on purpose though, where he tells Shang like you can't do this, you can't do that. You remember it's only 12 hours. You have to at any point you feel like you're in danger, clap out. You That's how you get out of the power. But don't play with it. And they have a really good bond between each other. They feel really real. They feel like good friends are made. And I love this show. I'm kidding you not, guys and girls. Watch Link Click. At least give it the first episode a try. It's on Crunchyroll, so you can watch that. I'm not sponsored by Crunchyroll. I wish I was. That'd be cool. But episode one is on Crunchyroll. It's available in like I think 15 different languages. I feel like it's available. I think in Germany and French and all this other stuff. So you can watch it in many different languages. Enjoy like that. But anyways, guys and girls, with that, I will see you around. Hopefully not another like 50 months. I feel like it's every month or every like several months now I do these reviews. I'm sorry, life's crazy, work's crazy. It's very rare I get time to sit down and do reviews. Like, I mean, right now I had to do a whole bunch of other errands. I just now finally finished. So I hope you guys forgive me for that. Anyways, guys and girls, I love you all. God bless you all. I appreciate anyone that still watches my reviews. As always, until our paths cross again in the next review, everyone, God bless you all. Bye bye.